elections of this generation is 3 months away. Many Democrats throwing their hats into the congressional ring for the first time. One of them joins me this morning on the Fox 43 Capitol Beat. George Scott running against Scott Perry in the 10th District, covering Dauphin and parts of York and Cumberland counties. Mr. Scott, I hesitated for a second to ask you to come in because I saw that you were a Georgetown grad and I'm a Syracuse grad. so we have beef off the start, but I'll let it slide for right now. We're a better basketball team. I want to start on a more serious note, though, on your stance when it comes to gun control. According to your website, you're running on a platform to ban bump stocks and restrictions on assault rifles, which you say are meant for war. How do you view that kind of playing in this district where Scott Perry has won for 3 and he is a pro-gun advocate?
Well, it's a great question, Matt. I would say the first and most important thing that I tell folks is I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment, and I've talked to a lot of gun owners over the year plus that I've been campaigning, and there's no effort on my part to try and take guns away from owners. But I think what we should talk about is that we've got an issue with gun violence, and we need to have a discussion about some common sense measures that can reduce gun violence, both against schools as well as in homes. And so the idea here is take some measures that there's great public support for, things like universal background checks, and to also try and reduce the lethality of some of the weapons that we have in our communities, weapons that really were meant to be used on a battlefield rather than in a local community.
How do you think Democrats will win this November? Is this, we see a lot, I think, of a lot of Democrats are going further left. Socialist Democrats is the term being used. Or does the old adage still apply where you have to go more towards the center to win a general election after winning the primary? Well,
I think that what works in this district, as in most districts, is to focus on issues that affect people's day-to-day lives. So those are issues like better health care, affordable and accessible health care, better paying jobs, safe, strong public schools. Those are issues that not only Democrats care about, but independents and Republicans as well. So I think that's really where victory lies.
You mentioned health care, and one of your stances is to expand on the Affordable Health Care Act. Does this apply? Does that work in this district, do you think?
Well, I think what I've heard from folks is that there are some who like the Affordable Care Act and others who do not. And I think there are clearly some issues with the Affordable Care Act. What we need to do is go in and repair those issues and try to figure out ways that everyone can have affordable and accessible health care rather than health care being dependent solely upon your income or where you live.
How do you change from the primary to the general? Do your stance on the issues change at all to I guess, broaden yourself to a wider array of people?
Not really. I have from the beginning been in this to win the general election because I feel that the people of this district deserve to be represented with a more broad and uniting approach, an approach that will bring people together rather than divide people. And so the issues that I'm running on are the same issues that I focused on from the very beginning. And my goal is simply to bring integrity and service and compassion to this district. I've served 20 years as an officer in the United States Army and served the last 9 years in ministry. I'm a Lutheran pastor, and what that's taught me is that service to others is one of the first and most important things that I can do.
A lot of Democrats who are running this November for the first time have said that if they get elected, one of their first goals, if you will, is to impeach President Trump. Back in May, you said, let's pump the brakes on that for a second. Why?
Well, I don't think it's helpful to scream impeach the president because we have a process, and that process is unfolding. We've got a special counsel that's been appointed. He's conducting his investigation. He's clearly someone that's well respected by both Republicans and Democrats. Let's let that process play out, and then when he finishes his investigation and submits his report, at that point is the time to really take up that discussion. But until then, we've got more important issues to take care of, like how to make sure, again, that we have the kind of job creation that people need, and that the economic recovery that's going on right now is one that benefits not just corporations and the wealthiest, but benefits working families right here in this district.
Are you in favor of how the economy is being treated right now when you consider that the economy is on the rise and the president's poll numbers show that people enjoy that as well?
I'm very happy to see the economy improving and to see that this is a trend that began a decade ago and is continuing today, and I hope that that trend will continue. But what I want to see is I want to see the economy that benefits all people, and I want to see policies that will not hurt us in the long term. So, for example, tariffs that go against allies like Mexico and Canada and Europe. Those are tariffs that I don't think are in our best interest. Certainly we have to go after China and others that are doing unfair trade practices, but tariffs can hurt us right here in the district. Companies like Hershey and Harley-Davidson and others are going to be hurt by these tariffs.
George Scott running for Congress on the Democratic ticket here in York, Cumberland, and Dauphin County. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Won't hold it against you that you're a Georgetown grad.
Thank you, Matt.
Fox 43 Morning News will be right back.